Okay, so here, it's really not as overwhelming as it seems. It really isn't. So your handout that I've given you has more stuff than you need. So as I'm explaining, grab a pen or something and check stuff off. This is like your last word bank too. We're gonna go over all of the major arteries and veins of the body. Starting with all of the arteries first, then we'll go over the veins. So you know this is the anterior side of the heart. You know this is the posterior side. Why can you tell that this is the posterior side? The kidneys are here. This is the anterior side of the heart. Now you know that fresh oxygenated blood is brought to the heart by these two reds and these two reds. What are these tubes here? Y'all know this.
Those are the
Pulmonary veins. From here, the blood is going to your left ventricle. From ventricle, it's going here, right? So what is this segment called?
Ascending aorta.
Ascending aorta.
Aortic arch.
Aortic arch. This is the descending aorta. This segment is a thoracic aorta, so what would this segment be?
Abdominal.
Abdominal aorta. Very good. Now you also know that on the right side, you have the brachiocephalic trunk. So that is where I'm going to start off with. This segment here is the brachiocephalic trunk. So the brachiocephalic trunk splits into this, which is your right common carotid. This is the right subclavian. Where's my pointer? Let me get my
Your
pointer.
nail.
My nail, yes.
Nail it.
So this is the brachiocephalic trunk, right common carotid, right subclavian. Now the common carotid, this is the left common carotid and left subclavian.
Yep.
Now each common carotid, once it enters your skull, it splits. This is the internal carotid. This would be the what?
External.
External carotid. So common carotid, internal carotid, external carotid. Now these ones in the back, see these? They're going through your vertebrae here, through your cervical vertebrae. And they're going into your skull. So these are your vertebral arteries. And they go and merge, and you see these little fibers coming off? These are your basilar arteries. Skull base, so basilar. So we have common carotid, internal carotid, external carotid, vertebral, basilar. Now see the circular formation on top? That is your circle of Willis. Circle of Willis.
Is that at the base of the skull?
The base.
It is, skull base.
Skull base.
Skull base, yep. Now,
I didn't really mention that on the
Yeah.
handout.
no, it's not on the handout.
Okay. We've seen it before.
Yeah, circle of Willis. Now, you know that this is the subclavian, right? Now, subclavian, as it comes here, this segment here is called axillary. Why? Because that's the
Armpit.
region.
Axillary region.
Axillary region. So this is your axillary artery. This is your brachial artery. Brachial artery. Subclavian, axillary, brachial. Now here at the antecubital region, it splits. Now he's in standard anatomical position. It's like this. So this would be which side?
Your
Radial.
Radial. So this is the radial artery. This is the ulnar artery. Now for the palms, you have these two things. This is the superficial palmar arch or anterior palmar arch. This is the deep or the posterior palmar arch.
So just anterior, posterior.
Anterior or superficial, posterior or deep, because it's like this.
Okay, perfect.
So far we went over brachiocephalic trunk. What is this?
Common.
Which one? Right common carotid. This is
Left,
right
subclavian.
subclavian. This is left common carotid, internal carotid, external carotid. These. Vertebral. These. Teeny tiny one. Basilar, and this is the
Circle of Willis.
circle of Willis. This is the one.
Axillary.
Axillary. This is
Brachial.
brachial. This is
Ulnar.
ulnar, radial,
Superficial.
superficial palmar arch, and
Deep.
deep palmar arch. Now you know the thoracic and the abdominal aorta, right? Now this stuff here, most of it you guys already know. If it's a red tube entering the liver, what is it?
Hepatic
Hepatic artery. Red tube entering the spleen.
Splenic artery.
Splenic artery. Red tube entering the kidney.
Renal artery.
Renal artery. Now here you will see this circle. Can everybody see this like curve? This is the gastric artery. Goes around the stomach. Gastric. This one here is the superior mesenteric. So where is it gonna go to? Mesenteric is intestines.
Okay.
Superior mesenteric, so this would be the inferior mesenteric. So let me repeat. Splenic artery, hepatic artery, renal arteries. Superior mesenteric, inferior mesenteric. Now look here. There's these two little tentacle-like things. These are the gonadal arteries. In males, they're called testicular arteries. In females, they'd be what? Ovarian arteries. So superior mesenteric, inferior mesenteric, gonadal, gastric.
Okay.
Now, the abdominal aorta splits right where the sacrum is, and it goes into the ilium of the coxa. It splits to where this is called this. From here to here, it's called the common iliac artery. So from here, so do you see how this splits into two? The common iliac splits into external iliac and internal iliac. Very good. Now the external iliac goes on to form the femoral artery. So you have the common iliac, internal iliac, external iliac, which forms femoral. Now here you have an anterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery, and what would be lateral? Anterior tibial, posterior tibial, and fibular artery. Anterior tibial, posterior tibial, fibular artery. Now this is dorsalis pedis, or the dorsal plantar arch. Same thing. Dorsal plantar arch or dorsalis pedis. Boom, that was all of your arteries. Not bad, right? Not bad at all. Now we just have the veins to do.
Okay.
See, that's why I don't scare you.
Plus
Don't
also-
go into menopause again.
Plus also we've skipped
Too
over
late.
a small handful of them too.
Oh,
Like
okay.
digitorum.
Yeah, but where's your word bank? Because I said there's a lot more on here than you need to know.
Oh, I know.
Right? So your word bank, because any text, these are from your textbook. Textbook images will have more info than you need.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, but that's why I said we skipped over, but
Yeah, so these are the major ones.
All right, let's go to veins.
Okay. Now, vein-wise, we'll start up here, right? Now, what is the head vein called? You know this. Go for the, when you're a hunter, jugular. Go for the jugular. So here's your external jugular, internal jugular. Now we're going over all the blue tubes, guys. External jugular, internal jugular, jugular, common jugular. This is the subclavian.
Okay.
Superior vena cava. What is this? Inferior vena cava. Now these names are a little bit doozy over here, right? Now in the arm, this is the cephalic vein. This is the basilic vein. Cephalic,
On the outside.
basilic,
Okay.
The one right in the middle is the break.
brachial vein.
Okay.
Now here, the cephalic goes cephalic goes all the way down, basilic goes all the way down too. Now here is the radial vein, median vein. What would this be? Ulnar vein. And this is the anterior antecubital veins. This is where you could see in your antecubital region. This is where they draw your blood from.
Okay.
So let me repeat. Subclavian, cephalic vein, basilic vein,
Basilic.
brachial vein, radial vein, medial vein, ulnar vein, anterior antecubital vein. Now this is the palmar venous arch. It's a venous arch in the palm, palmar venous arch.
Are there two like with the arteries? Is there like a superficial and a deep?
There is, but I think just one is in your list. Palmar venous arch. Now, what is this right here? These two. You all know this. Pulmonary trunk.
Okay.
And it splits into the left and right. Pulmonary what?
Arteries.
Arteries. Arteries. Now here you have your inferior vena cava. A lot of the stuff in the thoracic and the abdominal region is going to stay the same. So blue tube coming out of the liver would be
Hepatic vein.
hepatic vein. Blue tube coming out of the kidney would be
Renal vein.
renal vein. Blue tube coming out of the spleen is splenic vein. So here there'd be it's not here, but you'd have a gastric vein. You have an superior mesenteric, inferior mesenteric.
vein.
You have the gonadal. Just part of it is broken, so you're seeing one of the gonadal veins here,
Okay.
right? So in gonadal is just a common name for what is testicular and ovarian. Now here is the common iliac vein.
Okay.
It splits into external iliac and internal iliac again.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is the inferior vena cava. This segment here is the common iliac vein,
Okay.
external iliac, internal iliac.
Okay. That
The
makes
same as the arteries.
Okay.
Now when you come here, when you take the external iliac, you come here, this one goes down the groin, all the way down to your foot. This is the great saphenous vein. Couple of doozies. Saphenous. Great saphenous vein. Here is the femoral vein.
Okay.
Femoral vein. Then this is the lesser saphenous vein. Greater saphenous vein, lesser saphenous vein. Greater saphenous, lesser saphenous. Now you have the anterior tibial and the posterior tibial. And you have the fibular.
Okay.
Done.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. And we have these two models here too. They have all of this as well. So these, and the best way to study for this is repeat. I've given you these, which are really good too. These models are good. These are better than this. Because there's some stuff here that's broken and bent out of shape. So here too, you see the aortic arch. What would this be?
Carotid
left common carotid. This is
Right.
right common carotid. This is subclavian. From here to here is 17 axillary. From here to here is brachial. Now this would be the ulnar, and this is the radial. Very good. Now, aorta. There we go. This is the hepatic artery, splenic artery, renal arteries. So here would be the gastric. Now these are the gonadals. See that?
Okay.
They're gonna go to the gonads here, but not seen. This is the one.
This is the
Common iliac. So this would be the external iliac and internal iliac. From here to here would be the femoral. From this is the what?
That is the
Probably
anterior tibial.
tibial.
So this is the
Posterior
anterior
tibial.
tibial. This is the posterior
And
tibial.
then here's the
Yeah, this is the fibular. There we go. Yeah, it's going to the fibula here.
Yeah, it's supposed to come right here. But then it would clash with the
So you're seeing them here really well too. So the ulnar artery, radial artery. Now, vein-wise, this is the
Jugular.
jugular. Internal jugular, external jugular. This is the subclavian. This would be the cephalic vein. This is the basilic vein. Cephalic, basilic. This is the anterior antecubital. Now here, this would be the what? Radial vein. We'd also have a median and an ulnar vein, which is not seen here. Right? Everyone with me? Now, what is from here to here? Common iliac. This is the internal iliac. This is the external iliac. So this right here is the femoral. This whole thing is the greater saphenous vein. This is the lesser saphenous vein. This is the
tibial vein.
anterior tibial. Or no, wait, this is the fibula.
That's the fibula.
This is the fibula. The others are not shown here. Yeah, they're shown here. So you're seeing the fibular vein, anterior tibial, posterior tibial. Here. Right there. Cool. See, it's not that bad.
A's all around.